ICE is picking up people at their marriage green card interview. Now, before you get too worried, it's not completely widespread. It's been happening sporadically across the country, anecdotally here and there. The biggest one was this a sweep they did in San Diego in mid-November of 2025, where they picked up families of overstays. Now, it's kind of messed up because there's word that some people may have been fiancé visas, people whose visa automatically ends in the overstay, they got picked up, but as well as other spouses of U.S. citizens, because under the Immigration Nationality Act, Section INA 245C, you're technically not allowed to adjust status in the United States if you entered with lawfully but did not remain with lawful status. But the exception is immediate relatives, spouses, parents, and minor children of U.S. citizens. If they're picking these people up, they still have a right to become U.S. citizens, green card holders, but they have to go to court and finish their case off there, which is a mess because they may be detained for a period of time. They may have to get a bond hearing and start removal proceedings and talk to an immigration judge before it's done, which could mean tens of thousands of dollars in filing fees, government penalties, attorney fees. So it's done, and who knows how long it'll take. In previous administration, you could have just negotiated with the ICE officer to stipulate that they're going to terminate the case so the person can adjust status. But right now, with the huge delays and backlogs, and it seems like the punitive, intentional affliction of distress that they're putting on people, it could take 4 or 5 years to get your court date and get things moving. So it's very distressful, and I know it's a big news. It was the New York Times, and people are really worried about it. It is worrisome, and it's something that's been on the back of my mind for several months now, since the word is that this has been happening to people, and we try to do our best to prepare. But the reality is you can't prepare too much because there's not much you can do if they decide to pick you up. Now, you could have plans to get an attorney for a bond hearing and prep the money for that, and have good instances of your moral character to argue in front of a bond hearing judge, and most likely you'll get it because spouse of U.S. citizen case really should be, but it really depends on how strict they want to be. But that's the most you can do in this kind of case to prepare for it. But the bigger issue that happens is that the basic case, even before all this is where we see people would have problems because they show up to the interview unprepared. They wouldn't have certain documents, or they had, well, first of all, there's two things. One is preparation, but before that, is the fact that they may not have been able to get the benefit in the first place. And these are the people who typically may get picked up. For example, they had unlawful entry, or entry without inspection. And if you're going to adjust status like that, you're going to get denied because you can't adjust status if you've had unauthorized entry in that form or fashion. Or you had criminal history, arrests, and stuff like that, or misrepresentation in the past. Those are most likely get denied. This motorcycle. I hate the motorcycle speeding around. I don't know if you heard it, but anyway, so now, if you have misrepresentation, sometimes you can do a waiver, but you got to prepare for these. Those are the typical reasons people get denied, or they just go to the interview and do a terrible job answering questions. And we see this happen all the time when people go unprepared, especially if they don't have an immigration attorney. I just had someone come to me where the case went to hell in a handbasket. They did have an immigration attorney. Immigration attorney didn't prep the case well, didn't look over the affidavits. There's so many inconsistencies in their file that now it's been a year and a half, 2 years, no decision. I'm like, well, they're doing a fraud investigation because half your paperwork didn't match the other half. It was letters the family and friends wrote, and they said things in there that weren't true, and they never read the letters to say, okay, why did this relative write this nonsense? He's telling me, the client, that they don't speak English well, so they weren't understanding what they're saying. Well, yeah, your lawyer should have read it. So just hiring a lawyer, as lawyers always say, hire a lawyer, is not the same too. You got to make sure they're good, they care about what they're doing, they're paying attention. If you go for cheap, it's going to be a problem. If you go to the lawyer that your friend said go to, it might not be good. And especially if you have a lawyer that does immigration law, contracts law, real estate law, criminal law, bankruptcy law, and every type of law there is, that essentially means they're jack of all trades, they're a professional in none of them. So it's not really professional for a person that has immigration law, which is so unique and so wildly different than every other immigration practice area of law, to take on a case when doing all these different things, try to learn all of it. Now, you might have an immigration attorney who's been practicing a long time, does criminal law as well. Those have some overlaps, or maybe family law, but you really have to have a hardcore emphasis on immigration law, not dabble in it, because it's going to cause a lot of problems, which was the case that happened here. When I looked up the attorney, their website didn't even mention immigration law, but it was a friend of a friend said, this guy's good, and go, and really destroyed their lives. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can fix that. I don't know if we can. But the short of it and long of it is, you got to prepare, besides this stuff that's happening right now, for a good case. You have to have all the documents prepared, be able to talk about your relationship history, where you met, where you went to dinner after your wedding day, how was it like, who was there, be able to answer these questions. What's the date of birth of your spouse, where did they grow up, all this kind of stuff. This stuff you would know in a married couple anyways, though more and more people seem not to know much about each other. It's really important for a healthy relationship to know this stuff, but also for your green card interview. So If you want more information about this kind of stuff, we have a guide called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It's free, the best free guide you'll find out there when it comes to marriage and fiancé visa cases, breaking it all down. Just go to the website, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, to download that, and you'll like that. And having said that, tune into our channel. We'll have more and more updates just like this as news comes, because it's changing every day.